Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Welcome back. We're now moving into our second segment for this morning. And as you know, today is the 9th day of September. It takes me all the way back to marching and listening to all that good music, and I'll stop there. We've got Colville Young Jr. in with us. Of course, when it comes to music, we know who exactly he is. And we're about to take you on a musical lesson for September time. Mr. Colville Young Jr., good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning to both of you. Glad to be here.
And how are you today?
Well, I'm fine. Given COVID and everything else, I'm alive and kicking.
So let's get on into it. I mean, when it comes to September, we're so attuned to these music that we actually grew up with from all the way back. But they've got significance. So when you feel it, you feel festive. You feel patriotic. You feel, you feel like your country is actually at one and at peace. The significance of Belizean music and these music in September. What are your take on that?
Well, it was in fact one of the most creative periods in Belizean history. And you have to remember too that everything was inspired here by the love for their country.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest takeaway from it. It was all inspired by the love for Belize.
Yeah. I noticed in the back there you've got the good Governor General, Sir Colville Young.
Standing next to the Belizean flag, and I need to put in this plug.
Yes,
this
sir.
little flag on my lapel, I don't know if you could see it,
Yeah,
but
we-
it was a gift. It was a gift from your dad, and I really appreciate it. And it's the only flag we have here right now. We should be waving a flag today.
I'll tell you what, within Hearts, we're actually waving our flags because we know what it symbolizes for us. But we're about to venture off now into a musical lesson. So we want to get to the first one. This one is actually called Homeland by the Sea, and then we'll talk about the significance of it.
So,
While we're waiting, I really loved your intro. It's for the love of country.
Love for
You
country.
felt it. You felt the passion.
Definitely.
And we need to get it back.
That's where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Everybody is supposed to show that patriotic feel because the only one few are we, We've got this country with love. Here we go.
That's right.
The selection is there.
God's goodness gave this land to me to honor and to love.
So there, this is definitely one of those that's very touching, and I wish we could have it in the background slightly there. It means a lot. God's goodness gave this land to me. And of course, Colville Young Jr., you could jump on in, man. The significance of this song, Senator Lizaraga asked me who composed it. I don't know, and I'm hoping that you know. Can you tell us that, please?
okay, that was composed by Philip Campbell, who was one of Belize's best composers from the era.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough, that was not the original name of the piece.
Wow.
Many of these pieces, and in fact, in some cases, the words were actually changed after independence. Homeland by the Sea was actually Honduras by the Sea.
Wow.
Okay.
And but after we changed our name to Belize, then they switched it from Honduras to my Homeland by the Sea.
Wow.
Glad they did.
Yeah. That's a.
Yeah, but
Sure. Go ahead.
I must comment though that was actually done with the knowledge and permission of the composer at the time.
Okay. The words are very significant, especially the way that it starts. And I think these are some of the things that need to be pushed in the school. God's goodness gave this land to me. Exactly what we were talking about before we get to the break, of how patriotic we are supposed to be as a country. and the fact that we've got this 8,867 square miles, and it's so beautiful. It is. Your take on that?
Yeah. Well, I think we were talking earlier about the conference yesterday, and one of the things that came up was that a lot of these systems are driven by people input. People have to have buy-in. People have to feel, in fact, that they are beneficiaries of this land and it was a gift from God.
Definitely.
People have to feel a part of it. And that is what I think we need to try and bring back. That strong feeling of patriotism, of ownership.
Yes.
That you have a stake in it.
Definitely.
This land is yours. And what you do to it is for your benefit and for the benefit of your kids to come.
Definitely. So Colville, I'll tell you what, we got the first, we got the lesson from the first song. One of the things that we found out there, thanks to you, it was composed by Mr. Campbell. And of course, the first name was actually Honduras by the Sea. So we now know that following...
Before you move on, there's one other point I want to make.
Sure.
And it's that Mr. Philip Campbell did only the music. The words was done actually by Mr. Percival York.
Wow.
So in fact, in those days, people really worked together really well. And in fact, so that was like a poet and a musician working together to give that piece.
Can you tell us how long ago this song came out?
These were all done in the 40s.
Wow.
Most of them. Some of them are a little bit more, I'd say, in the 50s, but that was a period of time when most of these selections or the compositions were done.
All right. So let's move on to the next song. I really and truly, I'm really enjoying this because now we know from all the way back in the 40s. So let's get on now to the second song. This one is actually called "A Tribute to the Baymen." So let's hear that one.
I love to tell the story of this land I know so well. It is the Bayman's story that makes me proud to tell. It is the Bayman's glory that makes me proud to tell. All day they fought to conquer on that September day, when every son and daughter might all be proud to say that every son and daughter might all be proud to say.
All right, so there we go. Tribute to the Baymen. Colville, you there with us?
Yeah, I'm right here, and
All right.
that's not correct. In fact, what you really played was "I Love to Tell the Story." That's a different song altogether.
Oh.
That one was actually done by Elswith Betson.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that she was female, and she was a very, very prominent composer. Also, the words for it was actually done by Vidal Montejo. Again, it shows people all coming together, in this case female as well as men, and contributing and, composing and creating music and words.
From the 40s again?
Yes, from the 40s.
My goodness, from all the way back when. Just listening
music
to
was
this,
music.
gives me a new love for these songs. And from the 40s. And the fact that we have Belizeans who actually impacted our lives from all the way back when. So we're so thankful for that. But let's move on, Senator Lizarraga.
Next one.
This one now is something that we hear every year again. But there's a significance to this one. So listen to it and we'll tell you the name. You know the name. Hear this one. There we go. Colville, come in, man, come in. The significance of this song, this is actually the Queen of the Bay song.
And that was from that same era as well. And it was done by Miss Eloise Humes. Again, it was again inspired, but this one here, a woman, and she did it because at that time the Queen of the Bay was the major beauty pageant for women in Belize.
All right, so of course, we know that this year was actually the 75th running of the Queen of the Bay.
Yeah.
And the Queen of the Bay hails from Belmopan. I don't remember her name at this particular point, but your graciousness, please forgive me. So from all the way back in the 40s again?
Yes, I do believe so.
All right, and the piece was composed by whom?
By Miss Eloise Humes.
Mm-hmm. Eloise Humes. I'd really like to know exactly what part of the country these folks hailed from. Simply because there's an additional feeling of pride when you hear, you know what, that person of that person of day.
Yeah, I know. I can look into that for the future, but to be honest, I never really gave that any attention.
You know, I just throw that out there, Colville. I just throw it out there because of how wonderful it feels, and the fact that we continue to hear these songs every year, year in, year out. We like it, and it symbolizes September time. It symbolizes patriotism. But we need to know, this conversation actually put us now, Senator Lizarraga, to another level. So next year when we hear it, it's not only that good sound, but there is a true feeling of goosebumps and how nice, and the struggles that we've got that brought us here today as Belizeans.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. That's
well
right.
said.
You ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's move on to the next one now. And this one is going to be the 10th of September song.
All right. Oh yeah. You know, I wonder if the era of TV has stopped us from going out to the streets. Well, no, COVID is stopped it, but I mean,
know.
before it used to be broadcast live on TV, people used to have to go out and participate.
Yeah, I
Anyhow.
know. It is a different situation at this
Yes,
particular point,
yeah.
but we do feel it as Belize. And Colville, come in. This one is actually the 10th September song. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this was done by Father Abelin S.J. He was a priest from St. John's, the Jesuits. And so it just goes to show it was like everybody making a contribution in the country. Everybody was inspired, really inspired. The great music, the great poetry that came out of that era is amazing.
Yeah. And composed in what year?
For most of these, we don't have the exact year, but we do know, again, this was in the 40s. Some of them were in the 50s, but I do believe this one was actually in the 40s as well.
All right, and I want to bring Senator Lizarraga in because when you mentioned the composer, he actually, it was like a new ray of light.
Well, I just can't picture the Jesuits letting their hair down to that extent. But great, well, it's a wonderful piece of trivia there.
Definitely.
Excellent.
But also, Senator
It was all
Lizarraga.
nationalistic at that time,
Yeah.
regardless of who or where or what or where
Right.
you were. Everybody just felt that fervor and wanted to be a part of it, wanted to contribute. It was really amazing in that era, at least from what I've been told.
All right, so there we go. We know now, that it definitely sparked something. And Senator Lizarraga mentioned he couldn't believe that the Jesuits actually let their hair down. That I definitely would like to get the significance of that. But we got one more song, so let's get to that, and we'll discuss it.
time has come. Belizeans unite for independence. Let it know be our plan.
We knew what we wanted, and we're united in it.
Yes, we are.
Our thinking, our actions, they should all lie.
All right, so let's bring it down. Colville,
Our
Colville,
single
come
action
in.
should all agree, you see?
Yes.
All
Colville,
about vision,
Colville.
no, Colville?
King Short Shirt.
Short shirt, a Trinidadian, Calypsonian. And again, it is reflective of the changes in what happened between the 40s and then that was in the 80s, no? And what happened is that it became more our society. Socially, it was more into at that time calypso and that kind of sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, the choice there kind of reflect the culture of that time or era, no?
All right, so there we go.
But that was done for independence in 1981, composed and I think it was commissioned by I don't remember who, but that was done in 1981 for our independence.
So which brings me back to also Lord Lara's song. There was the whole song about Tell Guatemala leave Belize alone.
Right,
So
right.
there is an impact from our Caribbean brothers and sisters to our country in terms of gaining independence and how we could actually see the unity together. So this definitely, especially knowing that King Short Shirt at Trinidadian actually wrote this one. So there's significance to it. But I got to understand, Colville, that we've got one more as well. So we'd like to hear from you on this one. Let's play that one. Oh, this one touched me. Yes, very much.
We believe flag boy.
Yes, you have to hear a flag man.
Yes. Oh yeah. What? Calypso Rose? How come Calypso Rose?
We do have her. We do have her part. All right. So let's lower it down. Colville, come in. That's the tribute to our women.
Abel's March.
Oh, Abel's March.
Abel's
Yes.
March.
Yeah, and it was done by Abel Redon, and he was a trumpeter.
Oh wow. And you know that this one definitely has a lot of significance because throughout the parades and Senator
yeah.
This is definitely that one that everybody parades to. You've got bands like the Imperial Band, and this is definitely one of those hits where they're more seniors. And when this song comes on, these people are actually out there and they're marching. We feel it. From how long ago was this one?
One of the most interesting thing about this one is the style. It's a march, but it's not like your typical Sosa or British kind of style marches. It's a Belizean style one where you kick up, kick up, whatever. Very, very
You're back
different.
and
So
front.
it is, when you really look at it,
Yeah.
it's our own genre of march. Different.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a swag to when you
You
march
have
this
to
one.
show where I'm moving, John.
Me?
Yes, man. You have to
Man,
show-
and
One
this thing
person,
about back in the days.
remark that I never see so much gyration in our
Exactly.
march before when you come and see that Belize done.
Exactly.
Definitely. I'll tell you what, man. I
I
feel
never
so
say
good.
I'm a march back way, but you know, you got back way move and
back way
everything,
march.
sideway move.
The significance of our music, see? Look, Master, she's actually doing her side.
Everybody dancing in the studio.
because guys, we're blessed with rich history to our country, and every single piece that we've listened to and spoken about, there is a certain significance to it, especially this one, especially. Now, Senator Lizarraga, what are your thoughts? I mean,
I'm feeling nostalgic right now. You bring back. Thank you so much for this show this morning, Colville. Thank you so much. I mean, you brought back so much that I haven't really focused on for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful time. When you think about it, really about how we used to get out, unite, and and march and feel so patriotic.
I'd like to get both of your input in terms of this. We've got Calypso Rose with one of the Calypso song. It was and she did her part with that song. And I'd like to get your feel, Colville, first. What's your feel in terms of hearing Calypso Rose, Lord Laro, and of course King Short Shirt putting in their piece for Belize and singing songs that we live with up to today's date? What are your thoughts, Colville?
Well, it's a reflection of who we are. We've never been a people who had one set of music. You know, we've always been a mixture, Caribbean, Latin, and now even Garifuna. So that's who we are.
Yeah.
And at that time, we then got some of the inputs from, I guess, our Caribbean brothers, them so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
In another era, when you had a lot of creativity as well, we got also inputs from the Garifunas, them in Honduras and all that. And so that's the way it is. That's who we are.
Wow. Senator Lizarraga, let me get
I
your
couldn't agree
take.
more. I mean, I think we're all rooted in history,
Mm-hmm.
and I think CARICOM has, strengthened that. I think in many regards, even though we're larger than a lot of them look at Belize as this little brother or little sister, and they have this affinity for us.
Yeah.
And it's lovely, really, to see these people come from abroad and to celebrate with us and to bring that, cheer with us. But I mean, we have a lot of Belizean artists as well.
Of course.
That just made, the band after band after band after band in these marches, and they just brought the march alive. So we have a lot of good history. We have a lot of good history.
Our history is a rich one, but I'll tell you what, you did mention that we've got a lot of Belizean musicians and a lot of Belizean bands. But these bands wouldn't exist today if it weren't for those that we had back in the day.
That's right.
Which leads me to ask Colville again. Panyard is normally September time, and we know how the love that your dad have got for music, band music, marching bands. Can you tell us about your feel towards your dad and his input into music within our country?
Well, him, like many others, do have a lot of nationalistic fervor, so to speak, and also a real love for music. And usually, eventually, you end up composing music, putting your own stamp on things, your own feelings and everything. And I really love him for that, because he was like, from I was small, from I was little, he was playing all these different types of music. I mean, all different types, Caribbean, Latin, classical. And I really felt really good about that. So I must say, with respect to him, that was his greatest gift to me.
Yeah, definitely. And I did mention about your dad, but I didn't see who he was. I mean, I did mention earlier, and it's actually the Governor General of Belize, Sir Colville Young. And
he has been a fantastic patron of the arts in this country, and we really must hats off. Happy 10th, Governor General. Thank you for all that you have done.
Wow.
In promoting and supporting the kids. Many children and many schools in this country have received generous donations through his kind offices. So we thank you, Governor General, and we thank your family, because his whole family.
Everybody that band people.
Everybody that band people. So.
Colville, I'll tell you what, man. We're wrapping things up. We want to thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Man, I can't express how wonderful you made us feel, and in the entire country, in terms of your contribution to music and what you shared with us today, the significance of these selections, when they came out and who composed them. Colville, thank you so very much, sir.
Okay, thank you too. Glad to be a part of this.
All right, Senator Lizarraga, man, what a lovely, lovely morning.
What a coincidence, huh? That the only flag in the room, and I have to drive home this point, was a gift given to me
by the Governor.
By the Governor General. And now today, we have his son here on this patriotic occasion. I think things don't happen
And I was just about to
just
go
by
there.
coincidence.
I was just
You
about
call
to
that
go there.
confirmation.
There's significance to everything that
Yes,
happens,
yes,
and
yes,
there's signs
yes,
to it.
yes.
Speaking of significance and signs, I tell you what, we've been given the sign to take a break. But when we come back, we'll be jumping into our final conversation of the day. This one is going to be about September celebrations, ecumenical services, and we will be having the folks in to tell us all about it. So stay with us. We'll be right back.